What's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all back to the Rio West Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Rio West. We back up in here. Another day, another dollar. Or at least trying to get it. And it appears that the dust is settled. For now. At least it appears the dust is settled. It's been about a day or two since the last release. And we have yet to hear anything back from Kendrick Lamar, but I'm under the impression that we won't hear anything back from Kendrick Lamar. As a matter of fact, I don't think we need to hear anything from Kendrick Lamar, and I think he knows that as well. Because although the track that Drake released, The Heart Part 6, was lyrically executed splendidly, I don't think it was enough. I think it was his last ditch effort to try to save face for himself. And again, if we were coming off of any other normal delivery by Kendrick Lamar or another like Meet the Grams or something like that, then that probably would have been a gut punch for Kendrick Lamar from Drake. But that wasn't no ordinary track that we got from K-Dot. So we needed something far greater than what we got, or far more impactful than what we got from Drake. And that just wasn't it. And when you mix the lack of energy compared to the Not Like Us record, when you mix that with the fact that he was also waving a white flag and saying that he didn't want to do this anymore, and that he just sounded tired and exhausted, you kind of got to give it to Kendrick Lamar. Not kind of got to get it. In a minute, I'm gonna explain why it's a clear winner. It's not even close. But the last episode, I mean, before I get into that, I think that's why Kendrick Lamar isn't going to respond, because he knows that he's got this in the bag and he's the clear winner. I feel like he does have more. He said he had more, 10 more to be exact. But it depended upon what he heard and received from Drake on his end. So with that being said, I want to get back on the fans again. The garbage bias by the fans. At first, on the last episode, I was talking about the bias on both ends of the spectrum. Well, now I'm specifically targeting the bias of the Drake fan section, because they're clearly in denial, and the narrative that they're trying to flip on Kendrick fans, or on Kendrick period, is ridiculous. And it goes back to what I was saying on the last episode. It's making this beef garbage because of the narratives that they're trying to hold, and not being able to give credit or concede to the opposite MC. So a lot of what I've been seeing and hearing are Drake fans saying, "Oh, this is over. Kendrick lied," and Drake spitting all facts. Where's the proof of that? Was there any proof that Kendrick Lamar beat his wife? Anybody find any of that? Was there any proof that one of Kendrick Lamar's sons is for his GM, his manager, Dave Free? Did we ever find that? Oh, we're just going off of social media actions? Follows, unfollows, likes, dislikes? That's what we're doing? I didn't know that's how you determined an action or a crime or whatever it may be. It's ridiculous. So because you allegedly fooled Kendrick Lamar into getting misinformation on one topic, that makes everything else not valid or invalid? So because him saying you had an 11-year-old daughter is incorrect, allegedly, that's invalid. I keep saying allegedly. We're going to get to that in a minute. So that's invalid. So that makes everything else he was talking about invalid. No. If anything, when we're discussing this, and I didn't want to get into all of this, but I have to. I feel obligated because of what I'm seeing online. Somebody has to stand up and say it. So if that somebody has to be me, then it's going to be me. I try to stay out of these little topics and tactics, these little touchy subjects. But again, if it wasn't for the people making me do this, then I wouldn't do it. But I have to do it because y'all are being so garbage in your bias that somebody has to point out your foolishness. So I'm taking it upon myself to be that person. So y'all, again, because he allegedly got fooled into believing Drake had a daughter that he was hiding, and the items that they sent him were, or the items that he received were items that they sent him, because those two things were a lie. Everything is invalid. So him being a PDF file, we're gonna label it that. Him being a PDF file, that's invalid. So y'all fooled him into believing that was the case. The allegations that the people in his crew were PDF files. Those are, y'all fed him that too? I don't think y'all fed him that. So nothing else. Not even just that. Not even, what about us? What about him talking his little scheme towards the end of Not Like Us? When he did that whole scheme about the Atlanta area and Drake leeching off of Atlanta rappers. So that's a lie? That's a lie. Okay. So everything else is a lie just because allegedly that one lie. Everything else is invalid because allegedly that one lie. You sound ignorant. You sound real ignorant and you sound real stupid. If anything, there's more evidence to prove Kendrick Lamar's lyrics factual than there's any evidence to prove anything that Drake is saying is factual. So the leg Drake has to stand on is that because Whitney, Kendrick's wife, unfollowed him, but she still follows Dave Free, and he's liking her pictures, that makes everything Drake says factual. Because she hasn't came out and said anything in defense of Kendrick Lamar, that makes everything factual. Right. But we have video footage and images of Drake out here doing or performing weird behavior or conducting weird behavior with underage girls years ago and even recently. There's text messages between Drake and I'm not even going to name names, but underage girls, 14 years old, where he's saying, I really miss you. Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing to like really indict somebody. But I mean, what are you doing texting a 14-year-old girl that you miss her, that you really miss her? Y'all don't find that weird? Y'all don't find that odd? Y'all don't find it odd him snuggled up with a 16-year-old girl a week after she turned 16? Yeah, nobody really knows what they were doing, but you don't find it odd that as soon as she turned 18 that they went on a date immediately? You don't think he might have been grooming? I don't know. Who am I, Billie Eilish turning 18 the day she turned 18, celebrating her birthday, him messaging underneath, I've been waiting. That's nothing. He was just joking. Where's the harm or foul in that? But everything Drake says about Kendrick is factual. Okay. So I came across this video of this guy. I think his name is John Rhines. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to play this video for y'all. Then I'm going to discuss a little more because he made a lot of great points. And I'm going to discuss a little further my thoughts and reactions on the situation. But came across this. He made some excellent points. And I'm going to let him talk. And then I'll get on it a little more.
What's up, y'all? So I'm in the living room trying to watch this horror flick. And then, boom, look at my Apple Watch. Drake made a response video and just want to update my opinion on it. And I don't know, it's just something don't seem right to me. My opinion on it, Drake fans really just want to hear him rap. They didn't want to hear him going at a bunch of people. They wanted him to stay on target, stay on Kendrick Lamar, and rap. And I like that. I thought like Drake was spitting in this. He was spitting some bars. And this, he kind of reversed some bars, like the Kendrick Lamar A minor. He reversed that bar. But to be honest,
which I said all that. I said I acknowledge, metaphorically, the way he delivered, it was elite lyricism. But I didn't feel like it was enough. And it just didn't feel like it was a checkmate or a dagger to close out the game, to close out the matchup. But proceed.
It's like, even with the smooth reversals, it's not landing. It didn't, like when Kendrick Lamar dropped the A minor, that shit landed. So it was like, okay, he flipped it. It was like, all right, cool, that's nice. And I like the way that Drake was flowing on this right here. But my lasting impressions of this is, I'm going to give y'all a claim and I'm going to explain why I feel the way I feel. I do not believe that Drake set up Kendrick Lamar. I think that Drake got that stuff from people saying that online to give Drake the idea to have a way out. And the biggest reason I don't believe Drake set up Kendrick Lamar is because he didn't move like somebody who set someone up and they fell for the bait. If you lay out a trap for someone and they fall right through the trap and do exactly what you say, you chill, you cool, you good to go. And to elaborate on that further, DJ Academics, which is Drake's one of his biggest fans, DJ Academics is saying, yo, Drake called me, man. And when Drake called me, he was like, I swear I ain't got no kid. I ain't got no kid. Kendrick Lamar lying. Like, I'll retire from rap if y'all find proof that I got a little girl. That's how you move if someone lying on you. That's not how you move if you trap somebody.
Negative.
If you trap somebody, if you're out here rejoicing and chilling and having fun. If you trap somebody, Drake put up a story of him looking like this, and with the caption saying, I don't have a little girl. You wouldn't put that out if Kendrick Lamar made the song, because once Kendrick Lamar made the song, that means Kendrick Lamar fell for the trap. You happy. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't call somebody a liar. Why would I set you up for a trap and then call the person a liar? That person fell for the trap. He's not a liar. I manipulated that person, and so I'm going to come out to the world and brag about it. You didn't hear none of this, nothing online after Kendrick dropped that until this song came out. So it comes across as if it's more plausible from what I'm seeing that Drake got this idea for the fans to say,
thank you,
that Kendrick Lamar was purposely trapped by him in his OVO game. Now, there's no proof of that, but there's also Drake not putting out any proof that he trapped him. Another thing you do if you trap somebody, you show evidence of it. For instance, Kendrick Lamar put out the picture with the glove. Then the second picture was bigger. If you purposely put that out there to trap Kendrick Lamar, would you not just make a larger photo and you open it wide and you in that motherfucker like,
right.
That would show the whole world like, wow, that's a haymaker. That's how you trap somebody. Drake ain't got nothing out here, no text, no nothing to show that they trapped Kendrick Lamar, so it seemed fabricated. So what do we have left? We have him saying that Kendrick Lamar was molested when he was younger, and then we have Drake saying that Kendrick.
Which I'm gonna pause it there again because to clarify before I get off and continue on with the video and forget about this, that was stupid because if he did get that from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he was half-heartedly listening to it because he would know that throughout that whole song, Mother I Sober, Kendrick Lamar is saying how everybody in his family kept approaching him, asking him if such and such touched him, and he kept telling them no. And they wouldn't believe him because it happened to his mother. He never said that he got molested. People in his family got molested. Proceed.
It was lying about him messing with little girls. On those two things, how can you out Kendrick Lamar on something that he put out himself on his records? So that's not nothing big that land. On Drake messing with little girls, that's a fact. That's in video. This is a big video with Drake calling a 17-year-old girl on stage. He put his arms around her, caress her, and then the girl tells him her age, and Drake moves back like you're too young, but only to go and touch her again and tell her that she's thick, tell her that she's fine. This is after she announced to him that she's a child. And then he goes behind her, kisses on the jaw, kisses on the other jaw, and then he kisses her on the lips after knowing she's 17 years old. So if you do this, then you tap another girl that in 2016, you got pictures being close with this girl. She was 16 years old in 2016.
Proof is out there.
Then you go out on a date with her in 2018, 2 years later. So now she's just turned to a grown woman. And then he rapped and put Millie Bobby in the song, but you was a 30-some-year-old man texting a 14-year-old and then meeting and going out to dinner with a 14-year-old. That's weirdo shit, and that's enough different occurrences that I would be worried like, yo, bro, do you got some kind of hebophilia? You know, which is when you're sexually attracted to teenagers or whatever, it's open at this point to ask those kind of questions or bring those kind of questions up, or if you're in a rap beef, use these things against you. So you can't say Kendrick Lamar lying about that. And the last thing I'll say is that, yo, Drake sounded so defeated at the end of the song. He sounded real, like, he didn't sound like, why would you sound this defeated if you purposely set someone up and they fell for your bait? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not matching. It's not matching the same energy. You know, like, I just listened, I paused the horror movie, I listened to Drake's song, and then kept watching the movie. It was like nothing happened. So, you know, shout out to Drake, you know, for giving the fans what they want and finally rapping. If you ask me, it's not enough. It's not enough for what Kendrick Lamar already has out. What I would feel comfortable at any time in the future debating this and saying that Kendrick Lamar beat Drake head up. But the biggest problem is we all know that Kendrick Lamar will be dropping soon. So that's my review. About to go back in here and chill, man. Y'all hold it down.
This is like a secret weapon.
That's the video. But all similar points, same views that I've been sharing. And also, at the same time, another thing on that new record, Drake is incriminating himself. Like, literally just the other day, Academics said that you can't get on a song and say, I am not a PDF file, and just not look crazy. It's gonna make you look crazier than you already did. That's not something you could just get on there and defend. And you also can't not say anything. You can't ignore it, because then it's the elephant in the room. So it's a tricky situation, and it's beyond rapping at this point. But also at the same time, not only did he get on there and defend himself and say, I'm not a PDF file, he named names. He dropped a name. So like, hey, yo, Kendrick never named any names. Why are you dropping a name? So not only are you defending yourself, saying that this isn't who you are, but you're naming names. Come on, bro. But it's back to the topic at hand. We have more evidence to prove Kendrick right than we have any evidence that Drake was right. But just because fans want to run with the narrative that he took from the fans, that they sent somebody there to plant misinformation, and that misinformation happened to be one topic, that invalidates everything Kendrick said. So we're going to completely ignore all these other allegations against not only Drake, but his camp. Right. So that's, again, back to the fans from the last episode, this episode, it's garbage. It's garbage because we doing anything we can to defend our side, because we don't want to look silly to the other side, because we can't accept our side being the loser. When in all actuality, there's a clear winner, and it's not even close. It's Kendrick Lamar. It's Kendrick Lamar. He is the clearest winner, and it is not even close. And Drake knows it. That's why you heard the tone in his voice when he delivered on the Heart Part 6, and also saying what he said, you could write 100 more. I don't care. I'm done with this. Blah, blah, blah. He waved the white flag. He quit. He gave it his best last ditch shot on his way out, hoping that everybody would take it and be like, oh, Drake's got it. Checkmate. That's a wrap. But it's not, because we see through it. We see through it. The vast majority of people with common sense knows that Kendrick won. And I know that Kendrick won, and it's not even close. Because Drake could have won every round. He could have won every round to Kendrick's one. But that one round that Kendrick has is the checkmate. And that's not like us. That's the club bop. That's the haymaker that one of these artists needed to drop to end this. And he did it with his last record. He gave him shots back and forth, got personal, back and forth, and then saved the best one for last. The club bop. He did the Drake to Drake. He did the back-to-back to Drake. What Drake did to Meek Mill, Kendrick did to Drake. And there's no going back from that. It don't matter if Drake murdered him on every single record, except for this one. But this one is the one everybody's going to remember. Because at the end of the day, when all the dust settles, and nobody's really talking about this one or that one, nobody's really talking about push-ups too much like that, nobody's really talking about Euphoria like that too much, 616 in LA, Taylor Made got taken down, nobody's really talking about that. When y'all are out there partying this summer, a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and Not Like Us comes on, and 90 to 95% of the club is getting down, they two-stepping, they sea-walking, they chanting OV Ho, certified lover boy, certified when they chanting all that, and all you Drake fans are in there, and y'all have to just sit up there and take it, y'all gonna look around and y'all gonna look at each other and be like, damn, he lost. He lost. That's a tough pill to swallow. Because for the rest of eternity, because I promise you, this is forever a classic. And if it's not forever a classic for you, it's forever a classic for anybody on the West Coast, because forever at functions, that's going to get played. And everybody's going to be chanting OV Ho. Certified lover boy, certified. A minor. These are stuff. That's the thing. That's the thing. When everybody looks back on this beef, this battle between these two titans, these two juggernauts, they're going to realize that of everybody, of Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole, even though J. Cole hopped in and then hopped out real quick, they're going to realize that Kendrick Lamar had the most quotables, if not all of the quotables. He had the most quotables, and those are the ones that's going to stick forever. Think about it. Since Like That dropped, I can't go anywhere without hearing somebody say, boom! Or mother F a big three, it's just big me. Now you got these people out here saying A minor, OV ho. Plenty of quotables. The memorable quotables. Going forward, that's what everybody's going to remember. Are the quotables, and specifically this song, because it's going to be played everywhere. It's being played everywhere. Literally watching a stream from Noah Plays earlier on Fortnite, and one of his members in the chat is in the background singing "Are You My Friend?" This song just came out 2 days ago. The streamers playing this, 19, 20-year-old streamers out here online singing this while they playing Fortnite. Don't get online. Don't get on Instagram, TikTok. You're going to see all the people at all the functions two-stepping, getting down. You're going to see reels created of people walking to it. Families all in tune. But he lost. He got 4 songs in the top 10 trending on Apple Music right now, with the top 2 being Not Like That, Not Like Us, and Euphoria. But he lost. We'll revisit this in a few months, and we'll see who really lost when all this settles down and nobody's talking about this anymore, but that song is being played everywhere. Checkmate. Game over. And Drake knew it. That's why he bowed out. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I could delve in a little more, but it ain't even no use to talk about it anymore. It's no use. I addressed everything, really. Everybody says Drake won because Kendrick is automatically disqualified because he was lying and Drake had the truth. But I just gave y'all the facts of everything. He only told a lie about one thing, which we don't fully know if that was a lie, or if Drake was just feeding off of what social media was saying. But we got proof that y'all boy doing some funny stuff. And put the hammer on the head of the nail with Not Like Us. It's being played everywhere. Everybody dancing to it. Everybody bopping to it. Everybody getting down. And he's got 4 songs in the top 10 right now. Apple Music. It is what it is. People gonna be in denial. And this ain't even me just being like a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. It's me seeing the ignorance of everybody else. And it's like, you can't be that foolish. There's even been a few people that have argued me back and forth all morning and all last night about why Drake won. Oh, everything was a lie. Oh, everything. I'm trying to tell them that it don't matter whether you think everything's a lie or not. Kendrick's got the haymaker. It's already reached everywhere now. It was just on the playoff game. They played it going into commercial break. Not Like Us. Like, there's no getting away from that. But they argued me down. I said, okay, cool. We're going to revisit this. Just like how I'm telling y'all now, we're going to revisit this in a couple months. I was like, we're going to revisit this. But it didn't take a couple months. It took today for them to realize, I've seen the posts from these same people, for them to realize, man, this dude Drake can't get away from this. It's on TV, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube. No matter where you go, it's everywhere. And I'm just over here like, try to tell y'all. L. Just take that L. I know it's hard. Y'all already had to take that one L with Pusha. It's cool. Like, y'all act like it's a slouch he was going up against. It's Kendrick Lamar. Don't call him the boogeyman for no reason. You the one that wanted to try it. Matter of fact, you was the one, and I should pull that video up too, but I'm not about to do that because I don't want to face any copyright strikes on my channel while I'm still just getting started. But Marcellus Wiley was on DJ Vlad. I saved the video too, so if you're watching this and you want confirmation or proof from that, let me know. I'll provide the link for y'all. But matter of fact, I might even put the link in the description. But this video proof of an interview Marcellus Wiley did with DJ Vlad where they was discussing the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef. And he was saying when it started, and he said they had an interview when he was still on what was the show he was on, Sports Nation, with Max Kellerman back in the day. He said it was around 2011, 2012. He said they had an interview lined up with Drake because he just so happened to be hosting the ESPYs that year. So he came through to do an interview with Max and Marcellus. Now, he said typically whenever they did their shows were live. But this particular time, they made them pre-recorded. And they started at 11:30. And they said when they were doing the interview, they started talking to Drake. I forgot how it goes. Like I said, I'll have to provide the link so you guys can check it out yourself. But somehow Drake got on the topic of Kendrick Lamar and he just started going in on him. He started talking about how he's beneath me. He's not on my level. He's not this. He's not that. He's nowhere as nice as me. People keep trying to compare on me. They need this, and that. Going off. And he said him and Max was just like, yo, we got like interview of the year. This is great stuff. This, and that. So he said when the interview was over, they was waiting for it to go live. And he said while they was waiting, like a little time had went by, and then the producers that came and they was like, hey, when y'all did that interview, did anything go left? They was like, no, everything went good. We got some good info. We got a good interview. He going in on like one of the other artists. I was like, all right. He said a little bit more time went by. They came back. It was like, you sure? Nothing. It's like, yeah, we good. He just went in on another artist, this artist from my town, so he went in on my guy. But it's good stuff. They did that. They came back. They said, yeah, they want us to take it down. And it was like, why we got to do that? He's like, they just said they want us to take it down. It wouldn't be a good idea. They asked us if we can take it down. So then he asked, can we speak to the people that asked you to take it down? He was like, yeah, you can, but I don't think it's going to go well. So they went and they talked to him about getting it took down. And they went and it was Drake's people that kept contacting him back. When they came back this time, they said it was Drake. And when Drake came back this time, he told them that if that interview airs, I'm not doing the ESPYs anymore. So, of course, they never aired the interview. This was around 2011, 2012. So you do an interview going off on Kendrick Lamar. 12, 13 years ago, then you have a change of heart because you realize what you had just done. So you were scared of that man. You realized what you had did was a mistake and what the repercussions will be, and you tried to go save face or stop it from even coming out. So this man, everybody talk about Kendrick Lamar. This man has been having animosity towards Kendrick Lamar since day one. And nobody ever knew it. Everybody thought it was Kendrick's fault because Kendrick started all of this with his control verse. Which, like I said in the last episode, the only person that got offended by the control verse, like legitimately offended by the control verse, was Drake. Everybody else, anybody else who had an issue with it, put it on wax, and then that was it. It was done. It wasn't a real issue. But he was the one that kept bringing this up. And apparently it goes way deeper than that. Again, I'm going to provide the link so y'all can check it out. But, yeah, bro. So it appears, you know, Drake has always had this animosity built up, and finally he got a response out of Kendrick that made him decide that he wanted to. And I'm going to give Drake props. I'm going to give him props in the sense that he did step up and he did go toe-to-toe with the man. And he did hold his own. As I knew he could because, like I said on the last episode, when locked into that lyrical mode, he's elite. But you got to come harder than what he did with Kendrick, especially how to close it out. Yeah, nah, it's a wrap on that. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. But moving on, I want to talk about the LA Clippers. I promised one of my dogs, Henry, that I was going to talk about the Clippers because I think they deserve a little bit of attention because over the last few years, they've been getting cut some breaks that I don't think they deserve to be cut. You know? Kawhi and Paul George just decided they wanted to link up and, you know, tag team. Kawhi decided he wanted to go to LA, but he didn't want to go to the Lakers. He didn't want to be LeBron's sidekick. Understandable. Wouldn't either. But he also shot down Russell Westbrook about joining him in OKC with Paul George. But he linked with Paul George to get him to force his way out of OKC to come to LA to play with him. Well, that's cold, but whatever. They ended up becoming teammates later on. So they did all of that. And they don't have nothing to show for it. Kawhi barely ever plays. Damn near never plays. Especially when it comes to playoff time. How you miss more time in playoff time than you do regular season? And you already miss enough of the regular season. And then this year, you get James Harden, and you bring Russell Westbrook back from when you acquired him last year, which they should have never even brought in James Harden. Granted, now, well, the season's over for them now, but now they figured something out now. But what they had working with Russ and Leonard and PG was working fine. Russ was a facilitator. He wasn't getting out of box. He stepped up when he needed to step up. Whenever PG and Kawhi was on the bench, they were flowing smoothly. And then you go acquire James Harden and throw that wrench in there. And that's why they went on that lone loser streak and couldn't get themselves together. It took Russell Westbrook to decide that I'm going to be the bigger guy and I'm going to go to the bench so that we could get this thing figured out. But even in doing that, y'all still ain't living up to expectations because you got Kawhi over here missing games. You got James Harden doing what James Harden do, which is coming up short when it's all on the line, when the cameras is on and everything like that. But we ain't talking about Kawhi now. Now, as I addressed in my first episode up in here, I'm San Antonio Spurs fan. That's been my team. It's been my squad. And yeah, I had a little animosity towards Kawhi Leonard when he left, especially the way that it went down. But I didn't hate the man. I don't hate the man now. But I'll tell you what I will do. I will call a spade a spade. Because that situation that happened when he left San Antonio, so much blame got put on the organization and the front office for forcing that man out. putting him in a position to make him feel uncomfortable, make him feel alienated, like we didn't want him there, or that his teammates didn't trust him. None of that. The fact of the matter is this. He had some kind of mysterious injury that we don't know what's going on. I think it was something with the quad or something like that. And he started putting himself in a position where he didn't want to see the team doctors. He was seeing his personal doctors. Then he was ignoring them. He was avoiding them and this and that. The teammates didn't know when he was coming back, if he was coming back. So then, of course, they're going to start voicing some of their frustrations. Now, were they wrong? Yeah, Tony Parker was wrong. He didn't have to say what he had to say. But you got to understand, these guys were fed up. They don't know what's going on. The injury's not supposed to be that severe. But he's not seeing the team doctors. He's avoiding them. He's avoiding the organization. But because Tony Parker said what he said, that gave them credence to say the organization was wrong. But come to find out years later, it was never the organization. It was Kawhi. It was Kawhi the whole time. And he let his uncle get in his ear and buck him up to get him up out of San Antonio, to get him in LA. That's what he wanted. He wanted to get him positioned in LA. Now, granted, San Antonio wasn't going to feed into his demands, so they got what they felt was the best in return from him by sending him off to Toronto for DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl. But he was there that 1 year. He won that championship, and then what did he do? He left to go where he was trying to go to the whole time. Which is cool. Again, I ain't got no hatred towards him. Not one bit. Matter of fact, I'm still a fan of Kawhi. I still follow Kawhi. I don't follow him like all the time. Like I gotta catch a Kawhi game. Like if the Clippers are playing, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm chilling. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna cheer for him because he is still a dog, and he was my favorite player at one time when he was in San Antonio. But I'm a team player. So once you leave, I go to my next favorite player. Which after he left, my next favorite player was DeJounte Murray. Then he dipped. So it's really like between Kelton, Johnson, and Vassell, but then we got Wemby. So Wemby's my guy now. But we're going to stay on topic with Kawhi. So Kawhi goes to the Clippers, and all of a sudden, there's more of these mysterious injuries. And there's more of him sitting out for long periods of time. And there's more of this, we don't know when he's coming back. There's more of we're asking the coach, Tyronn Lue, and he don't know what's going on. So we got to start holding him accountable. We got to start holding them other guys, PG, James Harden. I ain't even going to say Russell Westbrook because he kind of got thrown into this and got disrespected in this process. We got to hold all these dudes to the same standard we hold KD to, that we hold LeBron to. Hold them to the same standard. These dudes teamed up. It was supposed to be the icing on the cake. Remember, they had a squad before they got Kawhi and PG. They had a squad. That was supposed to put them over the top. Best team in LA. What they got to show for it? Nothing. Nothing. So we can't keep letting these guys off the hook. And I don't know how y'all feel. I need some activity in the comment section. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. Should they blow this up? I mean, they in a predicament right now because you got a team that keeps coming up short. But at the same time, they're about to go into a new stadium. And they have whole rebranding, new uniforms, new all of this. So do you go into a new stadium and with a blown up team where you started over from scratch, or do you go in there with that team, try to see that you could pull it off this next year and then blow it up, or what? What should they do? But at this point, it's been how many years now? What was that like? When did Kawhi go there? What is it? 2020, right? Because he won a championship in 2019 with the Raptors. So that was 2020. This 4 years now. It is. And as the years went on, you got better and better players. You acquire better and better players, but you still keep getting bounced. Why? Because your superstar, your main star, isn't available for you when you most need them. Got to hold these guys accountable. Call a spade a spade. It is what it is. I like to slide off, though, to another topic. I like to get on a discussion of the NFL and Roger Goodell. Why Roger Goodell specifically? Because he made a comment recently that he doesn't like preseason games. He hates them or something of that nature. And his goal is to eliminate another preseason game, get it down to 2 preseason games, and have an 18-game season with 2 bye weeks. When are we going to start considering the players when it comes down to this? Because when you're making decisions like that, first of all, himself, he's looking at money. He's not thinking about the player safety. Yeah, they add an extra bye week, but you're not thinking about the player safety. You take a preseason game away because he said they're not important. How do you figure that? A lot of these guys get their jobs based off of preseason play. You keep eliminating these games, they don't have an opportunity to show what they have. Some guys don't go out there in one preseason game and show what they have and be good, and that be good enough to make the team. No, sometimes it takes 2 preseason games. It takes 3 preseason games. It takes 4. But they don't even have 4 now because you already took 1 away. Now you're trying to take a second one away? So you're taking away opportunity for somebody who can possibly make it in the league based off of preseason play. You're taking that opportunity away from them. Victor Cruz's. It takes consistent play throughout the preseason to determine that. There's a lot of bubble players out there fighting for that 3rd or 4th receiver spot, or that 2nd or 3rd running back spot, etc. And it takes consistent play from them throughout the preseason. You take that away from them, then there could be star players or potential star players on practice squads in the free agent pool ending up having to play for the UFL. It's not fair. And then also, you know how many players do get out there in their first preseason game and light it up, but then the rest of the preseason they don't do nothing? So you're going to find yourself in a position where a player that could have those possibilities or could show or could have that talent but doesn't have the amount of games they need to showcase it, they could be discarded, but somebody who isn't really that gifted but just so happened to have the game that they needed to have makes the team. But that's cool. That's fair. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. So you're gonna have a bunch of, what you're gonna do, you do something like that, you're gonna have a bunch of coaches where their job is gonna be on the line because they made the improper scouting decision because they didn't have a long enough duration to scout the talent. Some players, it takes longer for them to get on the scene. Sometimes also at the same time, when you have multiple preseason games, you can give these players opportunities with different groups. Like, somebody could be a star player, but they playing with the 3rd and 4th string quarterback and 3rd and 4th string offensive line, and they don't do nothing. But if you give them an opportunity in the 2nd game or the 3rd game when the starters are in there a little longer and they showcase and they go off, well, they done made the team off of that. Because you see what they're capable of when they're playing with other good players around them. But if they don't have the games to be able to showcase that talent, you never know. You factor that in with also the safety concerns of the players, playing an extra game, all of that. It just seems to me that Goodell's only out for the money, and any fans that agree with it, they only agree with it. They're only out for their entertainment. They don't care about the player safety. As long as they got another game to entertain them, that's all they care about. So you got this one caring about the money, this one caring about their entertainment, but nobody's caring about the player safety. So I think it's a bad idea. I mean, if they added one more, would I like not watch because I think it's a bad idea? No. But that doesn't cover up the fact that it's a bad idea. I feel like if you do something like that, if you're gonna cut a preseason game and add a regular season game, I feel like you should up the roster. You should up the roster count. Shouldn't be a 53-man roster. It should be a 63-man roster or 65-man roster. If that's what you're gonna, I'll okay it if you do that. If you up it and you do like a 63, 65-man roster, okay, cool. 63-man roster with an extra bye week. I might can get down with that, but still, even when you do that, the starters, depending on who's in the playoff hunt and all this, that's extended time they have to play. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're going to see how that rolls out in the future, but y'all give me y'all's take on that in the comments. How y'all feel about that? Y'all feel like it's cool? Y'all feel like they doing the right thing, trying to step in that direction, or are y'all with me? Y'all feel like it should stay where it is? I felt like it shouldn't have went to 17 games to begin with. They should have stuck it at 16, because now the way my mind is set up when I'm watching these people play, it's like all these records that was set by all these players before. I'm like, anything anybody does going forward is got an asterisk, but to me in my mind, because you got an extra game, unless you do it in 16 games. If you do it in 16 games, then I'm like, okay, cool. And I know they got people out there that's like, yeah, but what about the players that did it in 16 games when they had players back in such and such 70s, 80s that was doing it in 11, 12 games and stuff. Back then, they were changing the length of the season like every couple years or so. So you never knew when it was going to be this many games or that many games. But it's been at 16 games for the longest time. So all these records that's been set since then has been during this period where it's been consistently 16 games, and you just now decided you wanted to add a game to it. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Everybody's got their opinion. That's just mine, you know. Somebody else might feel a little differently towards it. That's cool. Who am I to judge and say your opinion is wrong and mine is right? Who are you to say my opinion is wrong and yours is right? That's the beauty of life. We all can have our own opinions, and you know, it'd be all love. But jumping off to the next topic, some more music. It just came out recently. You know, I was talking about a podcast ago or a couple podcasts ago that I felt like I needed to apologize to J. Cole. I was wrong about J. Cole. I was wrong about his whole situation, because this whole thing between Kendrick and Drake got really ugly and really nasty fast. And knowing the type of person that J. Cole is, he didn't deserve or need to be involved in any of that. And I think everybody can agree on that. J. Cole is a more lovable guy. Like I like to show love. I ain't with all that. Trying to get these people to come together. Even when he diss people, he always trying to, you know, make up with them. What's the one he dissed on KOD and then linked up with him? What was his one of them little? Was Lil Xan, Lil Pete, one of them guys? I can't remember. I don't even know him. Is he even still rapping anymore? I don't know. But he even linked up with him, did a little interview with him, chopped it up. You know, they got cool. J. Cole got love in his heart. So this wasn't for him. And I knew that because I knew these two dudes hated each other. They do. They genuinely hated each other. But Joe Budden was the first one to say, before all this popped off, around the time that he apologized, he's the first person to say, one of the two, Kendrick or Drake, had to notify J. Cole to tell him, you don't need to be in this. This is about to get ugly, and you don't need to be involved. This isn't rap this isn't rap beef. This is hatred, pretty much. Button said it was one of the two or it was both. And now here we just find out that Schoolboy Q from TDE, if you didn't know, I gotta state that because I know there's been a lot of people keeping up with this beef that don't even listen to hip hop. So Schoolboy Q from TDE notified J. Cole and advised him, you might want to back out. Because this is about to be a war and it's about to get really nasty, really ugly, really quick. And that's when he bowed out. Because I think that Cole genuinely in his heart was strictly trying to go at it, approach it from a sporting aspect, a competition aspect. I think he lyrically wanted to spar with one or both. But once he realized what he was getting himself into, that's when he was like, you know what? All right, it's cool. I play the background. And that ended up being the best decision for him. I didn't think so at first. I thought he was wrong. I told you all on my first episode of this podcast, I thought it was the wrong decision. I thought it was the wrong decision because I thought that either you shouldn't have listened to the people and let them gas you at all and not say anything, or when you jumped in that field, you should have never apologized. Because once you're in that field, you're in that field. But I didn't know what I didn't know what this was going to lead to. And now seeing where we're at now, where it's gotten so personal and so ugly, all these allegations being, I understand him wanting to secure that peace and maintain his peace. Because I can guarantee you both Drake and Kendrick ain't really living peaceful or moving peaceful right now. Well, probably Kendrick. Kendrick probably got them allegations going on, but he been telling y'all that from the jump that Drake was lying and he was fabricating stories because he heard his album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So he's making stuff up because that was his most personal album. So he's taking stuff from that and flipping it, trying to, take advantage of that. And this is the type of time Kendrick been on. So I don't really think Kendrick's really losing sleep over it at all or stressing over it at all. Now, I believe Drake is stressing over it bad because Drake, he cares so much about his persona and his image that anything anybody has to say about him in a negative light, he's ready to attack on him, throw subs and all this and that. So the fact that Kendrick's been throwing out all these allegations and this and the third, again, you can hear it on the Hard Part 6. He just sounds defeated. He sounds exhausted. He sounds like, I'm done with this. Like either I get the dub off of this or that's a wrap and I'm moving forward. But that's nothing you want to be involved in. If you're somebody like J. Cole, I think J. Cole is ready for that time if it's going to be lyrical sparring. I don't think he's ready for that time if it has to get personal. So, how y'all feel about that? Y'all feel like he still should have stayed involved, that he should have never bowed out, or do y'all feel like he was right? Y'all let me know. That's what the comment section is for. Y'all get live in the comment section. Go back and forth with me. I'll be in there with y'all. And yeah, look, I'm coming up on an hour. I got like a minute or 2 minutes left before it's an hour. So I'm right on cue, right on time for my last segment. I want to talk about my Spurs. I feel like I don't never talk about my Spurs. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this opportunity to talk about my Spurs and me looking forward to the offseason with Wemby and what we can possibly acquire. Now, all throughout the season, I dogged out my team because although we got great young talent, they're immature, and it felt a lot often early on in the season that like they were jealous and envious of Wemby and were purposely ignoring him. So it got to the point where I couldn't really watch games because it seemed like they were just ignoring him. And this dude is open every time. Like, literally, all you have to do is run the offense through him, get the ball to him. It's not like he's a selfish player, like he's going to go up for it every time. He's a great facilitator for somebody 7'3". He's a great playmaker. But they kept ignoring him. It was pissing me off. So, and it seemed like nothing was being done to get through to these players. Y'all need to feed this man the ball. So I was to the point where I'm like, man, y'all got to ship some of these dudes out. I don't care who you got to package for what. We need veterans because all these dudes is young, they immature, and they jealous of this man. Now, as the year went on, you seen they started to feed through Wemby more throughout the regular season. And you saw the tide start to change. They started getting these little small mini win streaks. It wasn't a lot, but they became more successful running the offense through him and realizing that they needed to run through him if they wanted to succeed. And they started to show off their talent, their young talent a lot better. They could play a lot better when they feed through them. So once they did that, I saw this team isn't really far off. They just need a few veteran key pieces to get them right. Now, a month ago, I made a comment to one of my coworkers. And I even made this comment on Facebook on one of my partner's posts because he's a Spurs fan too. I told him, after watching the tournament, I felt like the two acquisitions we needed to make this coming off season, I feel like if we were to sign CP3 and if we were to draft Zach Edey. Nobody seems to think Zach Edey is going to go in the first round. Nobody seems to think his skill set will work in the NBA, in the present NBA, because he's not a perimeter big or anything like that. That's ignorance to me. That's ignorance. Because when you can't teach size. You can't teach size. You can't teach his ability to play defense and dominate down low. So if you could draft a guy like that, because what I've been saying for all these years as a Spurs fan, they've been pissing me off all these years up until they got Wemby. Every year, I always wanted them to draft a big. And every time it's gotten to their pick and there's been a really good big available there, they pass on them to get a wing. And it's been pissing me off because every year they've been getting dominated by the Jokic's, the Karl Anthony Towns, the Joel Embiid's. Because they had no big. Jakob Poeltl was not it. He was not it. And when you did have him, he was the only one. Zach Collins is not it. He's not a legit big that can get down there and control the paint. That's not him. Drew Eubanks. Like, who are these guys? Now, Zach Collins can be a complimentary piece if you got other bigs around him. So eventually they drafted Wemby. Cool. But you need to free up Wemby and enable him to be able to roam around and not man down in that paint the whole time. And I feel like the perfect fit for that would be Zach Edey. If you pair him with Wemby, you get the new Twin Towers. And if you can get Chris Paul and pair him with the both of them, that'll fix a whole lot of problems with that team. Just like that. Just like that. I know y'all probably sitting out there like, oh, what's Chris Paul gonna do? He always stays hurt, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you go to San Antonio, Popovich is the master at load management and managing a player's minutes. Look at what he did with Wemby. Wemby stayed healthy because he only played like 22, 23 minutes a game. He would do the same thing with Chris Paul that he did with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker towards the end of their career. He's going to manage his minutes. So Chris Paul isn't going to be in a position to where he'd get hurt easily or often. And I've seen Chris Paul work great with other bigs. You saw it in New Orleans when he had Tyson Chandler. and David West. Not so much David West. Well, yeah, both David West and Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler with the pick and roll, go to the goal lob. David West pick and pop. Then you saw it when he went to the Clippers, when he had Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. It's proven that whenever he has a big, he's successful. He did it when he was with the Suns, with DeAndre Ayton. And then outside of all the big talk, don't tell me that he can't change that team around when you saw what he did in OKC a few years ago. When he went to that team wasn't even close to being the team that they are now or the team that they were last year. He went to that team and had them in the playoffs. Actually, no, I said a few years ago. That was right after he left Phoenix. So that was like a couple years ago. But he got in there, had them in the playoffs, dipped out, they missed the playoffs. So you don't need much. And we already have great young talent around. The only problem is they're immature. They have no guidance. So I feel like adding him and adding a paint presence like Zach Edey to go with Wembanyama, them three right there is enough to change that whole thing around. But if you get them two, if you acquire them two and then get at least two other veteran pieces around them, I think you could see a huge turnaround. I think you could see a huge turnaround in San Antonio. But only time will tell. We're going to see. I'm real intrigued and interested to see how it goes now that I know that our future has promise. Because I'd be damned if I told you that I felt like we had promise the few years prior to getting Wemby. Because every year, I knew what we needed, but we kept drafting otherwise. We kept stocking up on wing players, points, shooting guards, small forwards. For what? We were never getting any bigger down low. And this league has slowly transitioned back to a big, heavy league. It just so happens the bigs in the league, they could play the perimeter too. But think about all the bigs that's dominating right now. With the Jokic, with the Embiid, with the now Wembanyama, you got now Chet Holmgren's coming into his own. Now they're not necessarily bigs like that. They're more of like a hybrid wing / big, but they still have a paint presence as far as defense is concerned. Karl Anthony Towns, all these guys like this. So get another big, preferably Zach Edey, because I would love to see that. I would love to see two 7'3", 7'4", and 7'3" player paired together. You know how dominant they'd be down. Nobody would want to go down. They already run from Wemby when he's down there. But you add Edey too, and then you get Paul to do the pick and roll with Edey, pick and roll and pick and pop with Wemby. There will be problems. Just make sure you keep Devin Vassell. I would love to keep Keldon Johnson, but I got a feeling they're going to try to move off of Keldon. I like Trey Jones. We got a lot of pieces that I like. Malachi Branham. There's just quite a few pieces that we have. I wouldn't even mind keeping Zach Collins. He's, like I said, he's a good rotational piece. If you were to draft Edey and then you had Collins coming off the bench to mix in with the both of them, I could rock with that. But we're going to see. We're going to see what this offseason holds. They got some really good prospects coming out in the draft. They got some good pieces available in free agency. Like I said, even if they don't add Chris Paul, if they get at least 3 veterans, I don't know if that's the direction they're leaning in, but if they get at least 3 veterans, I think we'd see a big improvement, because they'd be an influence on those young guys that's not mature enough to be able to utilize their basketball intelligence. or maximize their basketball intelligence. They be able to coach them up in them situations that they've never been in before. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I ain't going to ramble on too much longer. We had an hour and 10 minutes. So, I'm about to go ahead and cut that short. Until the next episode, I appreciate y'all all for tuning in to Rio West Podcast. It's been Truth and Lies. I'm going to get back at y'all. And as always, like I tell y'all on every other podcast, if y'all haven't checked out the Foundation album streaming on all DSPs, please do. No matter where you listen. If you listen on YouTube, if you listen on Amazon, if you listen to Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, whatever, go check out Rio West Foundation, streaming everywhere now. Check out also, if you on my page, you ain't seen Still Dreaming 2 and Adolescence videos, check those out too. Click those links. Click the subscribe if you're here for the first time. Click that share button if you rock with your boy. Spread the word. It's just getting started. I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to get this podcast as big as possible. Upgrade my setup, my equipment, or whatever. But yeah, it's been real. All love. Peace.